You're not broken, you're not behind, you're not failing. You're simply in a chapter of your life where the path isn't clear. And that's okay. Every one of us at some point feels lost. It's part of being human. But it's also a sign, not of weakness, but of potential, because feeling lost is the beginning of being found. Think about this. When a GPS recalculates your route, it doesn't mean the destination is gone. It just means you took a different turn. And maybe, just maybe, that turn will show you a view you never expected. Sometimes life needs to fall apart so you can rebuild with intention, not just habit. We often ask, what's my purpose? But purpose doesn't always show up as a loud voice or a big sign. Sometimes it whispers. Sometimes it hides in the smallest of actions, helping someone without being asked, choosing kindness over judgment, or simply showing up when everything inside you wants to give up. If you feel lost, let go of the pressure to have all the answers. Focus instead on asking better questions. Not where should I be, but who am I becoming? Not why is this happening to me, but what is this teaching me? Life doesn't require you to be perfect. It asks for your presence, your curiosity, your courage. Feeling lost is not a failure. It's not a sign that you've messed up, that you're too late, or that everyone else has it figured out and you don't. Feeling lost is actually one of the most honest and real experiences a human can have, because it means you're paying attention. It means you're no longer living on autopilot. You've paused just long enough to ask, is this really the life I want to live? And that's not weakness, that's awakening. Too often, we treat confusion like a disease. We rush to fix it. We feel ashamed of it. We compare ourselves to others who seem more confident, more certain, more together. But what if being lost isn't something to fix, but something to feel? Think of a forest. When you walk into the trees and lose sight of the path, what do? You slow down, you listen. You notice what you never saw before. The sound of birds, the way the light hits the leaves, the patterns on the bark. In being lost, your awareness sharpens. You begin to see not just the path forward, but the beauty around you. Life is no different. Being lost means life is asking you to stop and listen, to unlearn the noise, to strip away everything that was never really you. Sometimes we build a life based on other people's expectations. A job that looks good on paper, a relationship that checks the boxes, a routine that feels safe but doesn't feel true. Then one day we wake up and feel empty, and we wonder, how did I get here? That question is powerful. It's the beginning of a deeper journey. It means your soul is stirring. It means you're being invited to grow into something more aligned, more authentic, more real. The most meaningful transformations don't start with clarity. They start with confusion. They don't begin with answers. They begin with questions. So if you feel lost, don't rush to escape it. Stay there. Breathe there, reflect there, because the version of you that will rise from this space will be wiser, stronger, and more alive than the version that was simply following the map. You're not lost. You're being guided. By life, by change, by something within you that's ready to evolve. Uncertainty is uncomfortable, but it's also where all growth begins. Think about the most important changes in your life. Were they ever wrapped in certainty? Probably not. They often started with confusion, doubt, or even pain. And yet those moments shaped you. They cracked you open. They made room for something new. We're wired to want control. We want to know the plan, the timeline, the outcome. But life rarely hands us a map. Instead, it gives us moments, more messy, real moments, and asks us to trust the process, trust the timing, trust ourselves even when we feel unsure. The truth is, uncertainty is not the enemy. It's the invitation. It invites us to get present, to let go of what's no longer serving us, and to step into the unknown with intention. Most of us think we'll feel peace once we have the answers, but peace doesn't come from knowing everything. It comes from learning to be okay with not knowing. A seed doesn't know how tall it will grow. It just knows it needs the soil, the dark, the water, and in that space without any visible progress, something powerful is happening. Roots are forming, foundations are being built. You may not see it yet, but that doesn't mean nothing's happening. In your moments of uncertainty, you're being rooted. You're preparing for something greater than what came before. So many people get stuck because they wait for perfect clarity before they move. But clarity often comes after the action, not before. Taking one small step, even when you're unsure, brings more insight than overthinking ever could. You don't have to see the entire staircase. Just take the next step. Let yourself explore. Let yourself be curious. Say yes to things that feel aligned, even if they scare you. Say no to things that feel heavy, even if they seem right on paper. Life doesn't require certainty. It asks for courage. The courage to show up, to try, to fail, to learn, to try again. You don't need all the answers today. You just need to trust that being in this uncertain space is exactly where transformation begins. And one day you'll look back and realize this was the moment everything started to change. We often think purpose has to be loud, that it should arrive like a lightning bolt or a grand revelation. We imagine it wrapped in titles, applause, or a mission that instantly makes everything clear. But purpose rarely shows up that way. It's quiet, gentle. It lives in the details most people overlook. Purpose doesn't always mean quitting your job and starting something big. It doesn't always mean standing on a stage or changing the world overnight. Sometimes purpose is simply being kind when no one's watching. It's listening to someone without waiting to respond. It's helping a stranger, forgiving a friend, or being present with your family. These moments may seem small, but they ripple. They create change, not just around you, but within you. The world is full of noise that tells us to look for purpose in performance, but the soul doesn't measure impact in likes or followers. It measures it in alignment. Are you living in a way that feels true? Are your actions connected to your values? That's purpose. Even if no one claps, even if no one notices. Some people spend their whole lives chasing purpose like it's something they need to find far away. But it's often right here, in the way you speak to yourself, in the care you give to others, in the things you choose to create or heal or support. Purpose isn't a destination, it's a direction. It's not something you discover all at once. It's something you grow into every day through conscious choices. When you follow what feels meaningful, even if it seems small, you begin to build a life of purpose. A life that reflects your inner world, not just the world's expectations. And the more you live that way, the clearer your path becomes. You don't have to wait for a big moment to matter. You don't need a huge platform to make a difference. Your everyday presence, your daily compassion, your quiet strength, that's powerful. That's purpose in motion. So if you feel like you haven't found it yet, look closer. It might already be in your hands. In your heart, in your habits. Purpose whispers long before it ever roars. We're taught to look for answers. In school, in careers, in relationships. We're conditioned to believe that having the right answer means we're succeeding. But life doesn't always work that way. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is not answer, but ask better questions. When you feel lost or stuck, the first instinct is to search for solutions. How do I fix this? How do I get out of this feeling? But what if the breakthrough isn't in finding a way out, but going deeper in? Instead of rushing to answer, pause and ask, what is this moment trying to teach me? Because growth doesn't always come from control. Sometimes it comes from curiosity. Questions guide us inward. They open doors we didn't know existed. Rather than asking, why is this happening to me? Try asking, how is this shaping me? Rather than asking, what should I do now? Try asking, who am I becoming through this? When we shift from answers to awareness, everything begins to change. We stop trying to fix ourselves and start understanding ourselves. We move from self-judgment to self-inquiry. We stop comparing our timelines to everyone else's and begin honoring our own pace. Some of the most life-changing realizations don't come from certainty. They come from asking the questions we've been afraid to ask. What do I really want? What am I holding onto that's no longer serving me? What would I do if I wasn't afraid? These aren't questions that need immediate answers. In fact, the beauty of them is that they sit with you. They evolve as you evolve. They guide you toward deeper alignment, not just quick solutions. Answers can give us temporary relief, but questions, they give us lifelong direction. They stretch us. They invite us into self-awareness, compassion, and clarity that isn't forced, but felt. So if you're in a season of uncertainty, don't be afraid to ask. Ask with honesty, ask with openness, ask without needing to control the outcome, and then listen, let the silence speak, let the stillness reveal, let the journey unfold one question at a time. Because sometimes the right question at the right moment can lead you further than 100 answers ever could. You are not your job, you are not your degree, you are not your relationship status, your achievements, or your income. You are not how many people follow you, how productive you are, or how others perceive you. Your worth is not something you earn, it's something you already have. In a world that constantly tells us we need to be more, it's easy to forget that we already are enough. We tie our value to things that can change overnight. A title, a paycheck, someone's approval. And when those things shift, we feel like we've lost ourselves. But you can't lose who you truly are. You can only forget. And remembering is a sacred process. True worth isn't external. It lives in your presence, in your heart, in your soul. It shows up in how you treat others when no one is watching. It's reflected in how you get back up after a fall, how you love after being hurt, how you give even when you feel empty. That quiet strength, that's your worth. There will be days when you feel unseen. Days when the world doesn't reflect your effort or acknowledge your value, but those are the moments that invite you to look inward, to remember that you don't need validation to be valuable. You don't need permission to be enough. Sometimes we wait for someone to tell us we matter, but the most powerful healing comes when we start telling that to ourselves. When we say, I am enough, not because of what I've done, but because of who I am. When we realize that being human, messy, imperfect, growing, is more than enough. You are worthy of love even when you're not at your best. You are worthy of rest even when you haven't finished the to-do list. You are worthy of peace even when your life feels like chaos. And the more you believe that, the more your life begins to shift. Not because everything outside of you changes, but because you finally see yourself clearly. You were never meant to prove your worth. You were meant to live from it, to embody it, to share it. Not to earn love, but to be loved, because your value doesn't come from what you do. It comes from who you are, and who you are is already enough. If you're feeling lost right now, I want you to pause and breathe, not to escape the feeling, but to honor it. This isn't the end of your story. It's a turning point. The confusion, the doubt, the silence, they're not setbacks. They're signs that something within you is shifting, evolving, waking up. You're not alone in this. Every soul that's ever grown has walked through uncertainty. Every person who's ever found clarity first sat with confusion. You don't need to have it all figured out. You just need to take one honest step forward. Let the questions guide you. Let the quiet moments speak. Let go of the pressure to be perfect and make space to be present. You are allowed to begin again, to change direction, to choose what's right for you, even if no one else understands. The journey back to yourself is not loud, it's not fast, it's not always clear, but it's real. And it's worth it, because on the other side of feeling lost is finding a version of yourself that's more true, more grounded, and more whole than ever before, you're not behind, you're not broken. You're becoming, and that is more than enough.